Thank you for purchasing a Banks Monster Ram intake system for your 2019 to 2024 Ram 2500 and 3500 6.7-liter Cummins diesel. In this video, we'll show you how to install the best-in-class intake system. Let's take a moment to go over the parts and equipment that are included with your kit. You should have the following parts. Now, if anything is missing, stop now and call us at Banks. Your new Ram Air intake system includes 4 1/4-20 by 3/8 screws, 1 M4 fine thread 16mm screw, 2 M4 fine thread 8mm screws, 1 Banks clear window, the Ram Air intake housing, the Ram Air intake tube, the air filter element, a hose, 2 hose clamps, number 72, and 1 hose clamp, number 104, and a small pouch of blue thread locker. For this installation, you'll need a variety of sockets and extensions. Feel free to pause this video right now to see what we've used. To ensure we don't get any check engine lights, let's begin by removing the negative terminals from both batteries, assuming you have 2. If just one, just remove the one. After disconnecting the batteries, we recommend waiting for 15 minutes. This will allow the ECM's internal battery to fully discharge, ensuring that we don't get a check engine light. Let's remove the intake scoop cover by first removing the 12 plastic clips. Now 2 clips are located behind the scoop. Use a plastic panel popper tool to avoid damaging the cover. Disconnect the 2 sensors located on the intake housing lid. Move the harness up and out of the way. First, slide the harness clip free of the housing lid. Detach the scoop from the intake housing. Then position it in place and reinstall the 2 bolts on both sides of the scoop. Detach the intake tube from the housing by using a 5/16 nut driver to loosen the hose clamp, holding the intake tube onto the housing lid. Now remove the intake tube by loosening the hose clamp, holding the intake tube onto the turbo. Use a 5/16 socket with an extension or a 5/16-inch nut driver. Detach the scoop from the intake housing. Pull the intake housing and scoop out of the engine bay. Take good care of the scoop because you will reuse it with the Banks Ram Air system. Now we're ready to install your new Banks Ram Air intake. To begin, transfer the mass airflow sensor and intake temp sensor onto the Banks tube. Transfer the 3 grommets from the factory intake housing to the Banks Ram Air intake housing. Drop the housing into place. Make sure that all 3 grommets are seated. Slip the Banks hose onto the turbo with the arrow aligned to the breather hose on the turbo. Slip the 2 hose clamps onto the hose. Tighten the clamp on the turbo side, leaving the outer clamp loose. Insert the Banks filter into the airbox and place the large hose clamp over the filter cuff. You'll tighten it later. Slip the Banks intake tube into the filter, but don't tighten the clamp just yet. Now you'll slip the opposite end of the intake tube into the hose on the turbo. Check the alignment of the tube by the filter. The base should be parallel to the housing opening and the sensor should have proper clearance. Tighten the remaining clamp on the Banks hose by the turbo. Then tighten the large clamp Banks hose by the turbo. Then tighten the large clamp over the filter cuff. Reconnect the mass airflow sensor plug and intake air temp sensor. Make sure the sensor harness is tucked against the intake housing and away from any moving parts. Reinstall the factory cover by sliding it over the Banks Super Scoop. Reinstall the scoop cover using the original clips. Now it's time for the finishing touch. Install the Banks window onto the housing. Use the supplied thread locker with the 4 Phillips head screws. And don't over-tighten the screws because you run the risk of cracking the clear plastic window. Now it's time to reconnect the batteries, hit the road, and enjoy your brand new Banks Ram Air intake.